Confucius the sage, the man who was born with innate knowledge. Confucius the philosopher who understood human nature. Confucius the paragon of education. At one point in the People's Republic, he was criticized as being a reactionary. But there's also the Confucius of the Analects, this little book of sayings in 20 chapters in which Confucius interacts with and is described by his students. And I have a bunch of editions of the Analects here. There's a wonderful translation by D.C. Lau, Confucius the Analects. Here's a modern People's Republic of China edition in simplified characters. The texts we have in this course are coming out of the sources of Chinese tradition, which Columbia University Press has very kindly allowed us to use. This is a very nice edition from the 16th century. The person who owned it punctuated it with all this red ink, and then above, in very fine calligraphy, he wrote comments on what he was reading. Here's another example of doing that, printed with two kinds of ink, with marks to show where the emphasis is. In this case, he's emphasizing almost everything, with some commentaries between the lines, above the margins, and so on. This is from Japan, and it's actually a reprint of a 13th century edition, a Korean book going further from the 16th century, which is in fact glosses on various terms in the Analects and other Confucian classes. In this case, it's the 8 rows of dancers. If this can be tolerated, what cannot be tolerated? I'll explain that rather obscure reference in a bit. But again, Chinese characters and then Korean Hangul with explanation. Finally, an edition of the Analects, which is in Chinese, Mongolian, and Manchu. So the Analects is a text that's been read in many countries from very early on, has been explained in many ways, and that's the text we're going to use to try to understand Confucius better.